Holding space is about showing up authentically and creating safety in the moments that matter most. From parenting littles to navigating friendships and partnerships, I reframe tantrums, conflicts, and messy feelings as invitations to connection. I'm Julia Clark, a psychotherapist and play therapist with over 30 years of experience walking alongside children, families, and the people who care for them. Each episode explores the building blocks of emotional literacy, co-regulation, and boundaries, while honoring the intergenerational stories we carry within. Blending science with lived wisdom, I believe growth is playful, healing is possible, and we are all learning together. Hi, I'm Julia, and together we're holding space. Before we dive into what's ahead, I want to share a little more about who I am and why this work means so much to me. I've been working with children and families for over 30 years, but it didn't start in a cozy therapy office or a cool playroom. It started in long-term residential treatment homes, supporting children who were there because their parents weren't safe or able to care for them, or because the children themselves, due to trauma exposure, had behaviors so escalated, home wasn't a safe place for them anymore. This is where I started learning to create safe spaces. Even back then, I knew that healing comes when you feel safe. As I moved into roles managing these programs and training others, my focus was on making these spaces feel like safe, secure homes, where we, the adults, were the calm, nurturing parents many of these children needed. We practiced creating safety through everyday rhythms, sharing meals, movie nights, baking cookies, and sometimes even making quilts together. We balanced this with movement and physical activity, time spent connecting with nature, and quiet moments of self-reflection. Always the goal was the same, to build memories and connections with plenty of room to not get it right the first time. From there, I moved on to working at an elite girls' boarding school, where I created a therapeutic program supporting emotional growth and self-esteem for teen girls through individual and group therapy. I've also worked in women's shelters and homeless shelters, where the need to create safety was felt in my bones. This sense of safety and holding space has always been a part of how I show up, and I want to pause here to check in authentically. Because as much as I've been holding space for others for decades, it's been much harder to step into holding space for myself. When I first sat down to begin recording this series, I'll be honest, it felt vulnerable. It was difficult for me to feel safe enough, and even harder to feel worthy enough, to create something I hoped might matter for you. Above my computer, I keep a big sign on a tapestry that says, "With kindness." That phrase has become my mantra. A reminder that if I'm going to create a safe space here with you, I have to begin by holding myself with kindness and compassion. That's how I show up to the microphone. First, making space inside myself so I can extend it outward to each of you. I'm really grateful to have this opportunity, and I'm excited to see what continues to unfold. Back into what got me here. This sense of safety and holding space has always been a part of how I show up. And yet, after completing my first intensive during my 3 years of postgraduate training in play therapy, something dramatic shifted. Everything I thought I knew changed. I had been taught to talk, to reflect, to paraphrase, but the real power for transformation is when you feel held in safety, when you can let anything surface without judgment, even the pieces you don't have words for. That training lit a fire in my soul. It brought clarity to my purpose. It showed me that creating emotional safety is not just something we do for others. It's something we must embody moment by moment within ourselves. Looking back, so far in this Holding Space series, we've walked through some beautiful and challenging ground together. We began with the power of naming our feelings and practiced the truth of name it to tame it. We explored how co-regulation steadies us, and how mirror neurons help us reflect one another's calm. We talked about the beauty of emotional safety, what it feels like when it's present, and what happens when it's missing. And most recently, we circled back to feelings themselves, using the feelings wheel to bring clarity and compassion to what we're carrying inside. Together, we've practiced slowing down, noticing our bodies, and staying present in moments we might otherwise rush past. We've been building a toolkit not rooted in perfection, but in presence, a way of being that helps us create safety inside and extend that safety outward in our relationships. What's ahead? As we move forward, we are going deeper. We'll look at how emotional safety shapes our closest connections and how to build that safety within our families and partnerships. We'll explore what happens in meltdowns and shutdowns and how to meet those moments with steadiness instead of fear. We'll talk about boundaries and how we can both honor ourselves and nurture our relationships. We'll practice using language that builds connection, learn some gentle somatic practices to support regulation, and discover how to speak to ourselves and others with more compassion. And we'll continue drawing from the wisdom of voices that have shaped my own journey. Brené Brown's reminder that vulnerability is the path to connection. Dan Siegel's insight that bring the brain into human terms. And Stephen Porges' polyvagal theory, which shows us how deeply our nervous systems are wired to seek safety. Together, we're building a toolkit for emotional regulation, meaningful connection, and navigating the beautiful, chaotic journey of being human. Take a breath with me now. Inhale. Exhale. Ask yourself, what brought me here to this moment of seeking to hold space differently? Where in my life do I long for more safety within myself and in my relationships? What would it feel like to slow down enough to notice what I truly need in this season? You don't need to have clear answers today. You don't need to rush to fix or change anything. You are here, practicing the art of presence, and that is enough. Thank you for being here. Thank you for showing up, and thank you for holding space with me. I'll see you in the next episode. If the content of this podcast really resonated with you and you'd like to go even deeper, I'd love to invite you to step into this work more fully. Beyond the podcast, there are many ways that we can connect. Individual therapy for your child, parent coaching or support for yourself, and deeper I Am sessions that explore intergenerational patterns. Additionally, I also offer webinar workshops and weekend retreats for parents, classes, intensive trainings and supervision for therapists, and large group presentations for educators or school presentations. Each are designed to help us hold space for the next generation of children in safe, attuned, and meaningful ways. You can learn more and explore what fits best for you at clarity.family.